Final Frontier. Courage, the Final Frontier, Denise L. Buchanan.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen. I was born in Jamaica. And when you think of Jamaica, what comes to mind?
Yaman.
Oh yes, of course. When you think of white sand beaches, reggae music, right? You think of margaritas, and of course, marijuana, yes? Yes. That is one side of Jamaica. I have a different experience. In my family, my father, he was the principal of a country school. And my mother, she was a nurse. My older sister, she attended seminary and became a Christian evangelist. While at seminary, she met a priest by the name of Father Paul. Father Paul became very close to our family. And by the time I was 16, going on 17, I was raped by him. Needless to say, the rape resulted in a pregnancy. I went to Father Paul and said I was pregnant. And he suggested that I go to a facility in Europe and have the child by the church. I refused. He was not happy. He went to the leadership of the Catholic Church and they arranged 2 days later for me to have an abortion. I was devastated. The guilt and shame that I had was unbelievable. There was no one to talk to because in my family, my father, he was a rageaholic. He would look at the television and speak to us in a way that was unbelievably harsh. He would say, "You women, all of you, worthless women." I would cringe. My mother became silent. And my sister, she was more and more involved in the church. Father Paul became my confidant. There was no one else. He said everything was going to be okay and I was going to be his girl. I believed him. And for the next 5 years, we had a relationship. I was on birth control. But I got pregnant a second time with Father Paul. This time, I thought it was going to be different. I went to Father Paul. "Father Paul, do you want this child?" He said, "I do, but I want the priesthood more." My heart was crushed. Who was I to talk to? No one knew what was going on. I felt silenced, alone, afraid. And all I could think of was my father's voice ringing in my ear. "Worthless woman!" And so I felt I could only make one decision. And I chose to terminate not only the pregnancy, but my relationship with Father Paul. So my life was about stuffing my feelings, stuffing my emotions. I had a smile on my face and walked through life as if nothing was happening, and inside there was this turmoil and twisting. I eventually made my way to Los Angeles, and while I was here, news broke of a $600 million payout to families whose children were abused by priests. And when I heard that, there was this rage that erupted from me and spewed out. And I said, "Oh my gosh, how could they? The priest getting off scotch-free, the children silenced." And as I was ranting and raving, I thought, my father, that was me in that moment. And at the same time, the Egyptian revolution was taking place. And there was a video blog of a young Egyptian woman. And she said, "President Mubarak, we need to stand up against him. Human rights, justice, please, someone help us." And I realized in that moment, I needed to go back to Jamaica and face my oppressor. I found Father Paul, and the meeting with him was terrifying, and it was liberating. Although he denied what happened 30 years earlier, I realized that I was the one holding myself as judge, jury, and prosecutor over my life. And in that moment, I found courage. In Jamaica, white sand beaches. In Jamaica, reggae music. Margaritas. Marijuana, yes. There are children's lives at stake. It took me 30 years to get to the point of actually finding courage. I need you to help me free these children. I don't want any other children to go through what I went through. Take a leap of courage with me and save not only the children in Jamaica, but all over the world. For courage is the final frontier. Mr. Toastmaster.
We have 1 minute on the clock, please.